And hello, how are you guys doing? My name is Pedro. I'm an animator of over 20 years of experience. I've taught animation for 10 years also. Jesus, I'm old. Okay, so this is the second class we're gonna be reviewing. Like the first one we reviewed the bouncing ball and the bowling ball, which would isolate the principles of line of action, timing and spacing, and squash and stretch. The exercise we're going to check on today is going to tackle two other principles of animation, which are overlapping action and follow through. Before I go and explain the exercise per se, I have to I have to talk to you about what overlapping action is. So overlapping action is an action that takes place over another action, right? That's why the actions overlap. For example, if your character is walking and then he turns his head as he's walking, the turning of the head overlaps the walking. That's basically like the basis of it. Follow through would be a type of overlapping action when an action starts within a shape or a form. It hasn't finished and another action starts. Uh, Follow through. It's very important for your animation to make your animation look interesting. For example, like when you're walking and you're swinging your arm, normally the arm will reach the zenith of the a pendulum basically, and it starts moving back. But your arm will not move all at the same time. So what would happen is you have your action going. Let me stand up a bit. Maybe you can see it. You have your action going and doing it. Everything moves at the same time will look like this. But if the bicep and the tricep moves first, then the forearm, then the hand, then you have this going. Okay, so the action hasn't finished. It's starting the action going back, but the forearm moves forward, the hand moves forward, and then you get like a little like a rope, right? If you exaggerate it, your arm would look like a rope. So understanding that will help you basically make your animation look alive because that's normally how things move. The A point will drive the action and then everything will follow. Okay, the action will follow through the form, as in the arm. That happens with a tail. That would happen with a neck, maybe like the torso. Like if you're walking, your hip will drive the movement, your abdomen will follow, your chest will follow. So it's like following behind, right? That's basically what overlapping action to what happen. Overlapping action is. It can also happen with, for example, if you're animating a horse and a rider, the driving force of the action is the horse. The follow through would be on the rider. The rider is reacting to the move, but that's like a little bit more advanced. Like there's a lot of overlapping action within the movement of the horse, and then you'll have to take into account uh, uh, basically how the rider would react to the movement of the horse. I don't know if I'm making any sense, so I'm going to go over it again. Okay, overlapping action would be an action that would start on a point within the form, and then the action will follow through the form, creating like a chain reaction coming back and forth. So in order to isolate that phenomenon, we're going to open our trusty open tunes. As I will repeat this in every class. You don't need open tunes to follow the class. You only need a software that can handle frames, right? So basically what you need to do is create a background. I already did it for you, which would look something like this. So you have a mound with a little X. This X will mark like the center of where our blade of grass will rest, right? So what you need to do is do the center of the volume first, which is what you got here, and it should look something like this. So you see, as the blade goes from one side to the other, you see the action going in one way and then going into the other way. But you see here, you have the new action starting at the bottom, but the new action still represented here. So you get like a little S form here. So that would be like how you overlap stuff. See? It's very simple. And this line of action is a little bit complicated to make. So it would be nice if you created a proper layout before you do the animation, because the line of action would look like an infinite sine line down and then twisted. Like it's like a figure eight, but then like you will squash it and then twist it down. So it should look something like this. Just something like this. So you see, you have like an infinite sine that's flattened down and it's like twisted. And you'll need different points. Let me get rid of this. You'll get different points from where your action is going to go. So you got position one. Position one should look something like this. And this is something you should do several times before you attempt to animate, because that way you can grasp like the concept. And you know what? Let's make another bucket here to change the color so you can plainly see what I'm trying to do. So this will be the top of the blade, and it will go down to the center of the blade. Yeah, you get something like this. Could be better. Let's make it more fluid, more. Okay, there we go. Then drawing number 2 would be. It's real easy for you to gain volume. Gaining volume as in making the line longer. So be on a lookout for that. So right, so this is really straightforward. It's just making the line progress. This is drawing 1, 2, drawing 3. Would look something like this. And on drawing 4, you get the new direction going the other way. So you just grab like half of the action going this way and the other half going that way. Right? Then drawing 5 would be the new direction, drawing 6. Okay. 7, 8, 9, 10. Here again, new direction. So by the end, you should end up with this weird flower shape, right? It kind of makes no sense, but if I turn on the animation, let me bring the opacity down. You see, you gotta have something to look like this. Like every exercise, I recommend you to do it several times so you can grasp the concepts, right? So remember, it's not really simple like this. Some people find it very complicated to grasp this exercise, but it's mainly the blade. Right now, we're only doing the center of the blade of grass. The blade goes in one direction. You see 1, 2, 3. Up in number 4, you get the new direction from the bottom and traversing up. So you get the bottom going in the new direction, the top of the blade still going in the same direction, and then drawing 5 is the new direction. And then you should have like a very smooth transition. All right. So once you get that down, the second task within this exercise is, let me just get rid of this so you can see, you already have like the center of the blade of grass going. Now you need to get the volume of the blade of grass. So basically, you're going to find add volume, and then you're gonna measure with your fingers or with whatever you can use to allow following the center of the blade, getting the volume going, right? And then you should get the blade of grass going, right? This should be like a rough animation of the blade of grass. If you get it up to this point, that's really cool. But I mean, whether it's Open Tunes or the software of your choosing, you better start like learning how to clean up your drawings to give it a more finalized look. So in order to do that, like I already did an example. Let me just get down. I cleaned up the mound. And the cool thing about OpenTunes is that you can use paint buckets. So paint buckets allow you to change the color. For example, I don't like this like really black edge. So maybe I want to do something that looks softer. I can go in here. Let me see. Yeah, I can go here and maybe look for a shade of green and just make it darker. Maybe we're looking for something like that. That's the advantage of using OpenTunes. Like you have paint buckets. I think Toon Boom uses paint buckets too, and maybe TV Paint. Like I used TV Paint so many years ago, I can't really remember. But yeah, like you can use paint buckets, and you have different brushes. For example, here I use an ink brush to basically finalize. It gives you like a cleaner line. And on this one, I use a sketch brush over here. So yeah, like this is more going in depth into the software, and I really don't want this class to be about that. But yeah, like basically just play around with your software, see what it offers you, and that way you can make your animation look cleaner. For example, like here we got with the rough leaf going down, and then I cleaned it up and ended up looking like this. So you should, by the end of the exercise, you should have something that looks like this. It might not make sense to you at first. That happens to a lot of students. Like they do the exercise perfectly, but then they do the next exercise and they can't really understand like what did I did in the leaf. It will come to you eventually, especially when you're doing like a walk cycle or maybe in the next exercise, which is the flower sack. Like you'll find out really what you're looking for, what this exercise teaches you. All right. So yeah, guys, this is basically what you need to do. Uh, the blade of leaf, the leaf of grass. Sorry, the blade of grass. Wow, I had a mental hiccup right there. So yeah, so remember overlapping action and follow through. Uh, do your background with your mountain. I would recommend you to do the line of action first, which is like this infinite sign, like crunched and twisted down, and then find the positions of your drawings where they're gonna go. I did it in 14. Some people can do it in 15, in 12. Normally, more than likely, it's always like an even number of drawings to make like the cycle smooth. But I've seen people done it in odd numbers. Like yeah, it will be like longer on one side but than the other. But the what we're really looking for here is a smooth transition from one action to the other. So one action is the leaf going in one direction. The next action is the leaf going in the other direction. Like that's what we're looking for, and a smooth transition between actions. So once you get that, yeah, that would be the leaf exercise. Any questions you have, please leave it in the comments, and let's get this journey on, man. Welcome to the Animation Dojo. Yeah, cool. So see you guys next time.